This video is sponsored by Cryx Hosting, which features premium website and server hosting for very affordable prices. So go check them out, link is in the description below. Hello guys, Dylan here from DigitalAE, and today we're going to be creating a realistic meteorite inside of After Effects using a third-party plugin called Trapcode Particular. Now, Trapcode Particular is actually quite well known throughout the After Effects community and actually costs around $400 on the Red Giant website, but you can actually get it, get a free trial, I should say, which I actually do highly recommend, so you can actually follow along with this tutorial. So go get that free trial. Now, the effect we'll be creating is that meteorite, and that actually heavily depends on the type of shots you have. So what I'm actually going to do first is sort of go through on creating the smoke and fire of the actual meteorite, and then you can actually match and sort of change the settings of Trapcode Particular to fit your unique shot. And as always, the AE project file and the footage I used in this tutorial will be down in the description below, so you can go download that. But anyway guys, let's take a look at what we'll be creating. So as you saw there, that's the meteorite we're going to be creating inside of After Effects. It's just this cool meteorite sort of heading down to Earth. We've got the smoke actually behind the building, which is really cool compositing and stuff. We've also got a nice sort of lens flare, as you can see there. That's sort of shining off that brightness of the actual sort of fire and meteorite itself. So we've got some like nice fire coming off here. It's all nice and yellow, and we've also got that smoke sort of animating and, you know, sort of all puffy and stuff, which is really cool. So let's jump inside of After Effects now. We've got the footage we're going to be using. So if I just go up to here and just play it back for you, it's just this nice high-res shot of these buildings here, and of course we're going to be putting the meteorite sort of coming in this direction behind this building and stuff. So let's get straight to it. So we're going to create a new composition, and then we're going to call this composition meteorite. Just like that, and the dimensions will be 3000 by 3000, and that's because we want sort of a nice high-res sort of square composition. So then once we drag it into the footage here, which is 1920 by 1080, it's sort of going to give us a lot of room to sort of play with and stuff. So the frame rate's going to be 23.976 as always, with a duration, let's just make this 10 seconds. And click OK. So the first thing we're going to do is make a new layer, and we're going to call this smoke. We can make it black, just click OK, and then we're going to create another one and just going to call this background, if I could spell it right, and this is also going to be black. And the reason we're going to create this background is because when we actually sort of create the effect and drag it into the footage, we're going to use this to actually do a screen mode or screen matte. So we're going to do that later on though. So we want to go to the effects and presets panel and get this particular effect. So I'm just going to type in particular, and Trapcode will come up, and then you just want to drag it on top of the smoke layer, as you can see here. So basically what I'm going to do is basically just show you guys all the settings that I use for this unique shot. So as you can see, because every shot is different, and you're going to have to adjust the particular settings to sort of match your shot. So all the settings I'm going to be showing you guys in this sort of tutorial is going to be for that shot, which you can also download in the description and basically, you know, get all the settings for that too, I guess. But anyway, I'm going to open the emitter up right here, and then I'm going to change this particles per second to roughly around 1000. Again, you can just mess with that if you want. Then we're going to have to make this sort of a bit smaller, because we're going to have this sort of nice long trail coming along here. So you can just basically go up so that looks alright. It's nice and small, and we've sort of got this sort of like nice trail that's going to come here. So I'm pretty sure that's a good size. We're also going to go down to the velocity random, and we're actually just going to set this to 0, because for now we actually don't need any sort of randomization for the velocity. Now the next thing I'm going to do is come down to particle here, and then I'm going to change the particle life to 7 and the life random to 100, because we sort of want to randomize sort of the life and sort of all these individual dots, because we don't want them to be sort of all the same size and stuff. Then we're going to go up to the particle type, and we're going to select cloudlet, and we're also going to change this feather to 100, with the size being 20 and the size random going to be 30. And we're also going to change this opacity, because as you can see, it's like literally just blown out white. So basically we just want to change this opacity to probably about 10, so it's got all this sort of nice softness. So this is where you can see we're sort of getting this sort of smoke sort of texture and stuff. It's sort of nice and soft around the edges, but sort of very white in the middle here. And then we're going to go to the opacity random here, and we're going to change this to 30. And then we're going to actually go to opacity over live, and we're actually sort of, because basically what we want it to do is sort of over time, this smoke layer, we sort of want it to sort of die out the further it is over time. So basically over life, which means basically the duration of the composition. So I'm going to select this like sort of scope down here, so then it's going to be sort of the actual opacity, which is 10, and then it's going to sort of fade down to 0 as time sort of goes on. So we're going to select that sort of slope there. And then we're going to go to select color, and we're going to actually choose random from gradient. And the reason we're going to do this is actually to colorize it how we want, because we don't sort of want that sort of just white color. So let's actually go to, I'm pretty sure it's color over life, there we go. And we're going to select this sort of white to black preset here, and we're going to change this white color to sort of like a darker sort of light gray, and we're going to change the black a bit lighter to another gray. And this is just going to give us sort of a nice grey instead of a very sort of white and black as you saw before. And then once we've done that, we just want to scroll down to the physics. Of course you can mess around with the shading, but that's getting sort of a bit complex because you have to deal with lights and stuff, and we don't really need it for smoke because it is going to be sort of seen in our shot from a distance, so we don't really need shading. But let's go to physics. So then we're going to leave all these settings, then we're going to go down to air, and then if we actually look here, we're going to actually change the air resistance to roughly around 4 or 5. I prefer 4. And then we're actually going to do the spin sort of amplitude, you could say, to 8. The spin frequency we're going to leave along with the fade in spin. And then we're going to go ahead and change this wind X, Y, and Z. Now if you see, if I actually raise the wind, you can see it actually makes sort of a direction or sort of a line of smoke. So as you can see, if I go over time, it's sort of just going to, you know, make that line. So basically let's adjust that. So basically I'm going to probably set this probably around -250, and then I'm going to sort of raise the, raise it, the y-axis, so it's sort of like on a cool angle, sort of heading up to the corner here. So if I just sort of adjust that, probably set it to around there, maybe 211 or 214, there we go. And then once we've done that, we're going to actually go down to the turbulence field, because as you can see, if we look, it's actually really sort of quite straight, and we sort of want to randomize sort of the clouds themselves. So basically we want to go to the effect position. We're actually just going to leave the effect size. We want to go to the effect position and just go ahead and change that to sort of 118, and this is sort of going to give this like sort of wavy sort of effect. It's not going to be left by that because we're going to sort of add a motion blur in a second. So once we've done that, we just want to go down to scale and maybe change that to 8. So there we go. So let's actually go ahead and add a sort of motion blur. So for the motion blur, it's down here in rendering. We just want to select it and then go to motion blur again down the bottom here, and then we want to change the motion blur. Instead of comp settings, we want it to be on. And then we want to change the shutter angle and sort of raise it till we sort of got a nice sort of blur. So I'm probably going to go maybe so that looks actually quite good. So maybe around sort of 1,000 here. Just like that. And then we want to leave the phase, as you can see here, and make sure this is on linear, which it is. So that's going good. Just play it here. So as you can see, we've got this actually really cool smoke now. As you can see, if I just play back, sort of got this nice smoke. It's nice and blurry from a distance, and it looks actually really cool. So what we're going to now create is the fire. So what we want to do is just get the smoke layer here, go Control D duplicate it, and we're just going to rename this to fire. And then we're going to change a couple of settings because we just don't want this to be sort of just like the smoke we just made. So I'm going to go up to the particles a second here, maybe change this to a bit more, so maybe like 1200 as you can see here, and then maybe go down to probably the life and change this to 1 because we don't actually want this to be sort of that long, and we want it to sort of fade out quite early. And then pretty much all the settings are good for here. Maybe go into the turbulence. So if we actually go down to physics here, and then we go down to turbulence field right here, we want to actually just change this effect position to quite low because we don't really want it to be that blurry. It's probably around 40. Yeah, around 40. That actually looks, well, that's starting to look sort of nice. Yeah, I'll stick with that. And then we just want to go back down to the motion blur here, and we just sort of want to actually raise the motion blur because we don't want the fire to be sort of that detailed from that distance. We sort of want a nice sort of glowing sort of red and hot fiery sort of look. So if we turn on the smoke back here, we can see we've got that fire layer. You can't really see it now because they're both gray. If I actually set the opacity to maybe 30, maybe zoom in, and then you can see that sort of nice fire layer. So now what we're going to do is to actually color the fire is go to the effects and presets again, and then just type in Colorama. And under color correction, Colorama will just come out. You just want to drag it and select it on top of the fire. And what we want to do is go to the input phase and then change the intensity to alpha because we're going to be using the alpha channels. Now, like, look how cool this looks. It's like nice and rainbow and stuff, but we don't really want that. We just want to actually go to the output cycle and select this fire preset. So if I select that, it's already got a sort of pre-made fire preset that After Effects actually comes with. Of course, you can adjust the settings here. If I just get the sort of white, you know, you can change all the settings and stuff, but for now I'm just going to sort of leave it to what the preset had. And then what I'm going to do is select this, go to mode, and actually select screen, so it sort of blends with this sort of smoke here, and we can just raise the opacity of the smoke back up just there. So if we zoom out and basically just sort of play it back, we can sort of see this smoke is going really nice, and so is the fire. So this is basically the meteorite effect without sort of compositing into an actual shot and all of that. So as you can see, it looks really, really cool. So now we want to actually composite it into the footage. So what I'm going to do is get the footage, go to the composition, make it a new composition, and then I'm going to drag the meteorite composition on top into this footage composition. I mean, you can just rename the footage composition to final or something like that. And then we want to get this meteorite composition, and if I actually zoom out, we can see we've got all this really nice space, and it's very cool because we can sort of mess around with it, and we've got a lot of room to work with. So if I just go to fit, turn it off for now, we've got this footage and stuff. Now what we first want to do, instead of sort of compositing the meteorite yet, is actually track the footage so we can actually parent the meteorite to the null. So basically what we're going to do is right click, go new, and create a new null object. I'm just going to call this probably meteorite track, or null actually, because it's yeah. We're going to select the footage, and we're going to go to tracker. If you actually don't have this, you just want to go up to window and go down to tracker here, and then I'm just going to select the footage, go track motion, and then I'm also going to hit the rotation sort of box here because we are sort of tracking the rotation. Now what I'm going to do is sort of just select a couple of points sort of high contrast. So I'm just going to make these boxes a bit bigger here, probably come up to here just like this. Sort of adjust this, and then we're going to probably go over to maybe go over to this crane, because this crane looks like it has a sort of a lot of detail because it's sort of got that black and then that yellowish sort of type there, so it's sort of a really cool track. We can just sort of go to the boxes there, and then we can just hit analyze forward. Now as you can see, it's tracking now, even though it's shaking, it actually isn't. We can just sort of take my word for that. But let's just wait for it to track now. And as you can see, it just finished there, and then we would just want to select edit target, and then we just want to select the meteorite null here. Just click OK, and then we want to go to apply X and Y, and that's okay just there. So if we go to the null now and actually sort of play back on the null, we can see the null is nice and tracked here. So basically, if we get the meteorite, turn the visibility back on, and then just scale this down, and then select the blending mode to screen, just like this, and actually just sort of rotate it there, maybe position it. And then we want to parent the meteorite to the meteorite null. So basically, as we scrub through time, we've sort of got the actual meteorite into this scene. So as you can see, we've got this sort of cool meteorite tracked into the scene. But the problem is, we also need to actually put this meteorite behind this building. So what we're going to actually do for that is just get the footage, Control D to duplicate it. Just, whoops, rename this to mask. And then we're going to sort of get this, go to the sort of first frame here, and then we're going to go get the pen tool and actually start masking out sort of this top section, because we're going to sort of place the meteorite behind there. So basically, we just want to sort of get this, start masking it out just like this, and probably put it around here and just complete the mask just like this. Now to do this, instead of going sort of and getting this mask and going frame by frame and just sort of moving the mask, a lot easier way is to actually just track it. So what we're going to do is right click the mask, go up to time and then freeze frame, and then we're going to create another null for this sort of mask. So we're going to select the footage again, we're going to go track motion, and instead of sort of going to these 2 points here, we've sort of got to go to track this, because as you can see, if I actually play it, we've sort of got parallax between the crane and this building, but we actually want to track this. So basically, we want to select that rotation checkbox again, sort of get these 2 boxes and just go ahead and position them on sort of this building here. Now as you can see, we've got a nice sort of track here, and then we want to create a new null object again and just rename this to probably just mask null. And then what we want to do is just go edit target, select mask null, click OK, then go apply X and Y just like we did before. And then once we've made that null, we just want to get the mask and parent it to the mask null, as you can see here. So now if I actually play that back, you can see that the actual mask is actually tracked to that building there. And to prove it, we can just get the meteorite and actually put it behind or sort of on top of this building here, and then move the mask on top of the meteorite. And as you can see, it's all nice and tracked in there. And then we can also change the sort of feathering for the mask to probably around 2, just so it's a little soft on these edges here, so it's not so harsh. Now what we want to do is actually start animating the meteorite. So what we want to do is get the meteorite, maybe go to the first frame or whatever, actually drag this over so we can see what we're doing, and probably go to probably about here and then actually cut it. So I'm just going to go Alt start bracket, and then we're going to go Alt home just so it goes to the start, and we're probably going to start from there, and then we're just going to sort of finish it off. So we can just sort of end the composition there just like this, and then I'm just going to position this probably around here, probably around there, keeping an eye on where sort of this top bit is, because when we actually sort of animate this, we want to put it basically in the same position so it looks like it's actually making a trail as it goes down. So if I just go to the meteorite here, hit people position, just select the stopwatch to make a keyframe, sort of go to the end of this composition and just move it down so the end was in that same position, just like this. And because we've sort of got a bit of a longer trail, we can just sort of go up here, so probably around there. So now if we actually play back, we've sort of got this meteorite coming down just like this, which actually looks really cool and stuff. So what we're going to do to actually sort of make it sort of composite a bit more and stuff is add a lens flare. Now of course this is requiring another sort of third-party plugin and stuff, Optical Flares. So if you don't know how to sort of use Optical Flares, I'm just going to do it sort of quick brief down. So I'm just going to drag optical flares on this new layer that I created. I'm also just going to go to options, sort of light, and maybe just pick a sort of preset right here. So for me, I'm just going to select Sun Digital, and I'm also just going to go down and sort of get rid of these sort of beams and stuff, or this glint if I just solo it, sort of this stuff. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Click OK, and then I'm just going to select that mode to screen so it sort of blends. And as you can see, if I actually put this over, it sort of looks like a realistic meteorite. So you can actually sort of make the brightness of this flare sort of really bright if you actually sort of want it to be sort of a bit more realistic. But for me, I'm just going to actually just sort of change this brightness, probably put it down to maybe 30 here, and probably put it around here. Actually, maybe 40 was good. Just like that. So as you can see, if we play it back now, we've sort of got this flare sort of following it, so it looks like the brightness is sort of coming into the lens. So as you can see, on the preview here, I sort of messed with the smoke a bit more and stuff. As you can see here, so it's sort of like nice and sort of puffy, more detailed. Again, this was just an example. You can sort of make it just like that. So that's basically it. You want to add a sort of color grade and stuff. So that's basically for the realistic meteorite effect. As you can see, I quickly rushed through this tutorial to show you guys how to do it. Of course, it's not as detailed as the preview and stuff, but you know, if you spend a lot more time of it compositing into your shot, it will look very realistic with Trapcode Particular. So I really hope you enjoyed. Remember that the settings will be actually very different for each unique shot, so adjust them accordingly. But anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed. Like I said before, don't forget I am available for hire as a VFX artist. Just contact me at digitalaeofficial@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe for more tutorials, and I'll basically see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.